Good day, legends. Welcome back. Now, before we rip into today's explosive story, do me a solid, smash that like button, subscribe if you haven't already, and drop your thoughts in the comments below. And if you're sick of the political circus, check out our Albo Says Relax t-shirt, only $23 for the next 48 hours. Links in the description. Alright, let's get stuck in. Labor's pulling out the big guns, promising cheaper medicines under the Pharmaceutical Benefits Scheme, PBS. Prime Minister Anthony Albanese made headlines today, pledging to slash the cost of meds to just $25 under next week's federal budget. And let's be real, Labor's been copping it lately over the cost of living crisis. They know people are doing it tough, so they're going all in on budget sweeteners. But here's the kicker, this move's got America fuming. This scheme is expected to set the Aussie taxpayer back a whopping $689 million over the next few years. But, honestly, it's pretty hard to argue against cheaper medicines. Who wouldn't want to pay less for prescriptions? Well, turns out, Big Pharma in the US isn't too happy about it. The Pharmaceutical Research and Manufacturers of America, a powerful lobby group, has fired off a complaint to the U.S. Trade Representative Jameson Greer, calling Labor's plan an egregious and discriminatory pricing practice. And they are pushing for it to be included in Donald Trump's escalating trade war. Yeah, you heard that right. Cheap meds in Australia could become the next target in America's economic battles. Now, before we go any further, let's bring in the panel. Sky News political reporter Cam Redden and Daily Telegraph journalist James Willis. So, Cam, what's the go here? Well, Caleb, the timing of all this is interesting. Just a couple of weeks from now, April 2nd, to be exact, the Trump administration is expected to roll out its next wave of tariffs. And after some intense lobbying from the pharmaceutical giants, it looks pretty unlikely that Australia will get a free pass if Trump decides to go after pharmaceuticals globally. And look, these companies don't just hate the PBS. Other countries have similar schemes, and Big Pharma doesn't like any of them. But today, we saw one of the strongest pushbacks yet from Prime Minister Albanese. He made it crystal clear, Australia isn't budging on this. The PBS is not a bargaining tool, Albo declared. There's no negotiation here. That's some pretty firm language from a bloke who's been playing it careful on trade issues. But here's the reality. If Trump slaps tariffs on pharmaceuticals, Australia could get caught in the crossfire. Now, let's be honest, Trump's whole thing is America first. That's why he got elected. And fair enough, right? You'd like to think any Aussie PM would put Australia first too. But James, there's another elephant in the room. This is another massive cost to the federal budget. That's right, Caleb. And you can't just ignore that. Economist Warren Hogan was on with Shari Markson last night, and he didn't mince words. He reckons the government spending spree is dangerous. In fact, his exact words were, "This is a massive spending government. The size of government in this country is like nothing we've seen before. It's dangerous. And make no mistake, more government spending means more inflation." And that's the bit the pollies don't like talking about. The government can hand out cash, but at the end of the day, if they are spending billions, it's only going to drive inflation higher. That means everyday Aussies, already struggling with sky-high mortgages, are going to cop it even harder. And let's be real, Labor said before the last election they wouldn't go around splashing billions of dollars like the coalition did. Well, guess what? That's exactly what they've done. They've blown out government spending, created massive public service jobs, and we are now staring down $1 trillion debt. Now, don't get me wrong. If there's one thing Labor's done right, it's cutting medicine costs. They did stare down Big Pharma when the industry cried wolf about mass pharmacy closures. And yeah, Australians are paying less for their meds. That's a win. But here's the thing, someone's got to pay for it. And that someone is you, me, and every Aussie taxpayer. Just have a look at your next tax return. Check out how much we are forking out just to cover the interest on the debt. It's staggering. And as Warren Hogan pointed out, if we keep going down this path, we are heading for some serious pain. Both sides of politics have been pathetic when it comes to real economic reform. We are crying out for a treasurer or even a shadow treasurer who's willing to show some fiscal restraint. But no one seems to have the guts to do it. Peter Dutton has at least talked about cutting wasteful spending, but will he actually do it? That's the million-dollar question. And let's be real, Labor isn't the only mob guilty of reckless spending. The coalition weren't exactly tight with the purse strings either. So where does that leave us? On one hand, Aussies get cheaper medicine, and that's a good thing. On the other, it's another massive hit to the budget, one that could drive inflation higher and hurt households even more. And now, thanks to Trump's trade war, we might end up paying the price in more ways than one. So what do you reckon? Is Labor doing the right thing by making medicine more affordable? Or are they just making a bad situation even worse? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. And don't forget, if you're sick of the circus, grab an Albo Says Relax t-shirt for just $23, but only for the next 48 hours. Links in the description.